Welcome to the Try BG podcast, episode number 7. And as usual, I'm with
6.
Hey.
You're taking us into the future.
Hey.
Where are you going? Where are you going?
We gotta look
You're trying to level up.
But I wanted to see who is awake.
You're just exposing yourself.
He's awake.
The haircut did more damage.
Wow.
You're beefy because I don't need your comb anymore. But it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, episode number 6. Yeah, I've been elected episode number 6. And once again, I'm with the gentleman, the Count Makula. Do you want to say wagwan to the people?
We are going to. They know that noise is loading.
Yeah, follow the writer.
Yeah, for the record, I'm in a black cape today. I saw you trolling me last time saying I'm always in a maroon cape.
You never know when you're leaving your house, the wife told you, the maroon makes your eyes pop.
I was worried people would think I have only one
And
cape.
today you woke up at 6 a.m. just to make sure you don't go with the maroon one. Yeah, and of course, Les is missing. He's at World Health Organization headquarters because this COVID thing is getting out of hand, so they needed his input. But before he left us with a topic that we're going to discuss today. And to make sure that we discuss it right, we are joined by someone that is very important in this industry.
Another guest, people. Another guest. We have not yet been fully blacklisted. It seems.
People, they still like us.
They still like us until they hear.
And also, those ones who listen and they don't engage online, they also still like us.
They still like us.
Yeah, but the topic today we are going to be discussing is why Kidandali artists, and when we say Kidandali, we are not dissing, but we are saying why other genres in the Ugandan music industry, we are referring to them as Kidandali, are more thriving than the urban genres. Urban genres, we are looking at hip hop, we are looking at R&B. It's also jazz under this.
But wait, first
But first leave.
First leave them.
Just guys back their money.
First leave them.
I would be like, don't listen to that podcast.
You have to now bring in another bag. It's not necessarily.
Yeah, but like I said, we are joined by someone who is from the music industry, who is more experienced, who is more versed with the Ugandan industry on a broader perspective. And I'm going to let him introduce himself. Me, I know him as James Propa. That's all I know.
You know him properly.
Yeah.
You don't know anything else.
I know nothing.
You know nothing. Okay. My name is James Propa. I'm so glad to be here. A music guy, basically. A media personality with focusing on Kidandali more.
Yes.
Yeah. I started out with Dembe FM, which is more Kidandali. Then when I left, I went to...
Which year was that?
That was 2011, I think. Then when I left in 2013, I joined Metro FM as just doing analysis. That's when I jumped into just analyzing the industry, the business. And that's what introduced me to digital music when I joined CCA in 2015. CCA is Content Connect Africa. We do distribution for RBTs.
Partners of Skyline Media.
I
just had to
do stuff with Skyline Media. But somehow I'm more comfortable with calling it the tribe.
Yes.
That name just gets me every time.
That's the money name. The invoice name.
It's what makes sense to me. So CCA doing distribution for RBTs. Then fast forward 2018, TIDAL comes in, and I get the opportunity to be working with TIDAL. So basically that's my journey. But I also do a lot of appearances on TV, the mainstream TVs, NBS, Delta TV, Spark, all those guys will invite me just to talk about music. So it's my passion to talk about music.
At TIDAL, what's the role?
At TIDAL, I'm the local editor for Uganda. So I do a lot of playlist building, making sure that the content is visible to the public, making sure that we are having the right... If an album is dropping, I make sure all the partners are aware. For example, MTN, to make sure that they are aware of any promos that are coming through. So, basically that's that's it. That's my role. But I also support at the African level because TIDAL has been more out there in the world and not in Africa as yet as much. So we've only launched in Uganda and Nigeria, but we're also working on an African page that is going to be visible to the American market. There is a lot of, like, those guys want to see African music, but they don't know where to get it from. So TIDAL is building that property, and I'm glad I'm part of that. Yeah, so that's my role.
Hey, man. Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
I'm even speechless.
No, please.
The man has done it.
You know what we call that? Chikuta.
Introduction into them. Yeah. First of all, okay, now, like, to kick it off, first of all, do you agree with our statement? Like, Kidandali guys are more thriving than hip hop guys or
in the UG
urban creators
space.
The only thing I don't agree with is when you call it Kidandali.
Yes.
But I also understand because, like my daughter says, Chomanyi. What you know is what you know. So if you know hip hop as mainstream for you, then definitely everything else becomes kind of it's not clear to you, so that's why you'll put it in one basket as Kidanda. Because when you cross over to that side, then we start cutting things down to band music, to Kadongo Kamu, and the fight of band a genre or not comes in. But yes, I agree with that statement that Kidandali as a whole, or I would call it Afrobeat. Basically, yes, Afrobeat is thriving more than hip hop or hip hop and R&B, and not just hip hop and R&B, because we have guys who we classify as hip hop on the Kidandali side. Like I said, Chomanyi. So on the other side, there are guys who are classified as hip hop.
Yes.
But for the purpose of this conversation, we're going to claim those guys.
Yes,
We have claimed them.
yes, it's okay. It's completely fine. Because you see, the problem of the Ugandan music is there is a lot of, one song has all genres in it. It has hip hop, it has Afrobeat, it has sukus, it has zouk. So that category is what really makes these people, some of them, to be unidentifiable. They have no place where they can really sit to say that they belong here. When they come to the tribe, they're chased out. When they come to...
Never chased out.
But you said you're going to shelve them.
When they send Felix that email and he doesn't open
there is a time we went on Radio City SNMS and Mr. DJ asked us, is Gravity hip hop? And we said, yes, Gravity is hip hop. It was almost midnight Saturday. Sunday woke up and the whole hip hop world was abusing us. These guys, the guys, you say Gravity is hip hop. It was a tough Sunday. But our position has always been, we claim those guys because we believe they do play a bigger role in bringing new masses to the hip hop world.
Absolutely, and they do a great role.
Yeah, and they do a great role. And then also there are guys that are paid, man. They are the ones that have gigs every Saturday.
Yes. They are rich.
Yeah.
Gravity drives a V8.
Yeah.
2014.
Which you got during lockdown.
And a new house also.
Yes, and he has a new house. So
I hope Gravity listens.
We'll send him the link. Yes.
Because he might call me and be like, hey, down to Tula. But so what and this is a question to my co-host.
Yeah.
What are some of those reasons that we think that our genre might be lagging behind compared to these other mainstream or popular genres?
I'm going to build on something I said in episode, I think 1. I feel like hip hop, if we look, let me put it in a sports perspective. Like I said,
James, you're a sports person, right? You're a sports person.
Not much.
But there are those things that for instance, like the other music is more like football in a sense of that accessibility, that everyone, anywhere, anytime, anyhow. And then hip hop is like basketball. It's that a bit more, it's not that anywhere type of sport. You see, you need the court, you need the this, you need the facility, there's more effort and work that you need to put in to achieve good hip hop as opposed to getting a ball and kicking it anywhere. You understand? There's some grass, some kabol, roll up something and
That's what we used to kick a team.
yeah, so there's a different type. And so even with the way it is handled, like you'll see that everyone is aware of football. Everyone knows what it's about. People are going to be willing to put money into it because that is the one they know. That is the one they like. Yours, it's complicated for them. They have to first think about this. They have to listen, pay attention to your words. They have to. So people are not willing, in my opinion, to put in the same type of, like, even if we get a very good hip hop artist who's doing good work, I don't know if people are ready and willing to put in the same money you would put the other side. Are you willing to come and put it this side? So that's one of the hurdles that I feel like hip hop has to climb.
For me, I think it's like, let's take the conversation from top down, because I feel like there are two dynamics to being in the industry and actually being successful or failing, because there is a part of making music and there's music business. When you look at these other genres, they seem to have struck the balance, especially for the local market.
Yes.
They can actually make the music at the same time try and profit from it somehow. But when we come to the hip hop side, guys are actually making the music, but the music business bit of it is not thriving. So one of the reasons I'm happy we have James here is to help us understand how it works that way, and how do the Kidandali guys do it? How have they managed the music and the music business?
Because when you speak of the music business,
How they manage to monetize.
Yeah, the thing that sticks out for me is
Buying a V8.
and then also securing funding for their music careers, especially because we know when you're starting your music career, you need those videos, you need the marketing, because you also the DJs, you have to give them something.
Yes.
The Propas of this industry.
Yes. So just to go back a bit, we need to understand the demographics of our country.
Yeah.
It goes back to 60% of the people have not gone up to S4. And the stories that are being told in hip-hop only focus on an audience that has gone to school. And certainly even the 40% that has gone to school, probably 80% of those have no interest in anything beyond Uganda. So even those that have gone out of Uganda have faced things there. So you literally have an audience of 5% that you can tell these hip-hop stories to.
Yeah.
And that really affects where hip-hop can go. It affects how far the what do you call it? The culture. How far you can preach the culture. And so I feel that's one of the things that hip-hop artists and the entire industry, this side, doesn't really focus on. And in that, some of the conversations that I've had with artists from this side, from who are not Kidandali. I don't know how to define it, because for me, I feel calling it hip hop, I would be making a disservice to the nation.
Yeah.
Because I sit in a position that is, yes, I sit in a position that is kind of supposed to balance everybody out and make sure everybody's on the same level.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've been telling the hip hop artists or the niche guys from this side is make synergies. You know? If you want the public to get to understand and love your content, then one of the best things that you can do is to get out there and work with the guys that are in mainstream.
Yeah.
And that really answers his question.
Yes.
If you want to get 100,000 views, then probably you need to collaborate with a Fig for Maika. Probably you need to collaborate with a Shiba. Probably the Myth has to do a song with Misaki Semakula. You know? Because they already have an audience that they've consolidated. These guys are getting 1 million views and the hip hop guys are getting 50K. So making synergies like that will really propel, will grow the hip hop industry and also get the people to understand. And it will also help the hip hop industry understand the kind of stories that they're supposed to tell to Ugandans. Because you see, when an artist is starting to do music, they get inspiration. So if you got inspiration from Jay-Z, you're definitely going to tell the stories of Blue.
Yeah.
I bleed blue. But I mean, for Ugandan, what does it mean? I mean, so many of us have not crossed even to Nairobi. So the kind of stories that are told probably also need to evolve a bit. They need to grow into stories that can easily catch the attention of the mainstream market. Hip hop is very important because it tells the story the best way. Like you can never tell it better than hip hop. But the problem comes in when you're telling a good story, but the way you're telling it is like you're based in Dallas.
It's not relatable.
It's not relatable to the big market. I mean, I understand there is a market here that definitely understands it, but if you want to cross over to Ambassador Firebase and Natete, you certainly need to tell those stories in a different way.
Publicity.
Because when we talk about Ambassador Firebase, you'll be surprised that Ambassador Firebase knows Drake. And probably knows a few songs of Drake. Because he understands when he's listening to Drake, he's listening to a different culture. You get? So it will be acceptable. He'll take in the content as it comes in. But if he's listening to a Cohen JC, he's looking out for something. Kabaka Mulwad Day. You get? Like, we need to tell these stories. This is us. We can't be like anybody else. So I feel building those synergies is one of the solutions that we can table to ensure that hip-hop also gets a fair share of the market. Because even the 60% that I told you, the 40% that have gone to school, there is a way they see life. That's why they relate to... Have you seen these Kwanjula videos, where the girl is urban, but she's singing these Teshka songs. So, this is the reality on ground. She's really young, but she's trying to prove a point to all the exes and everybody else.
That auntie who said did not get married.
So we need to tell those stories in hip hop. Like it probably you don't need to lose your audience, but the way we tell these stories should be exciting to the common person. And if you can't tell those stories, then probably you want a Rema to do
translate as if. And this, it's funny you've said something that we've touched on a number of times in terms of that relatability. You get there and you're listening to a song, maybe one of the new guys. I've actually said this directly to a number of them. Someone is rapping and is, I'm sipping, and then he says some drink that he can't spell, or that. I'm like, just say cocoa. Say cocoa, we go. What do you say sipping? But something else. It's a better Cavassier.
On that point of synergies, you've mentioned names, big names. So how do we get those big names? How would nobody get those big names? Because the way okay, not a nobody. Let me say like
a new artist.
Let me say like Seneli said. Yeah, a guy like Seneli said. Because one thing we've come to know about that
outside nobody. That's a big boy.
That's a big boy. Whom can we use?
No, but it's okay.
Because I need
about to call somebody a nobody.
I need someone. Okay, let's say a Saint Maximin. New guy is almost there. Yeah. So how would someone like that get a Rema? Because one thing we've come to know, the conversations around these collaborations is that one thing, when you reach out and they're willing to do it, they might ask you for some money to be on the show. Or they might be like, okay, once we record it, we're going to do a video for it. But that guy probably has only secured like a 500K, or he has his producer on lock, and his producer is like, hey, so how... Because even those big names, they don't want to come do a song and then the song just ends there. They also want to see the marketing efforts. And also, as we know, the marketing efforts take some money. So how do we make sure we jump that hurdle? I guess my question is, how do we secure funding? Because we know there are people who are willing to invest in the music industry, especially people in the sense that they love the industry and then also they love popular genres. But we also want to see them... because we've seen it with Rachel Ray.
I think the last thing you need to be worried about is the finances, is the money. The first thing you need to be worried about is who you're going to work with and what you're going to work on. You need to understand the artist. For example, Rema has a new song with Chike, and for me it was a surprise. Like I didn't expect
Such a collaboration.
Doing with Rema. I would expect her to be doing something with someone we feel is more out there, like Shiba probably. But the thing is, you find the kind of person that you want to work with, then definitely it's not going to come easy, because to your mind, you think Lil Baby is a star, but Rema is a star.
Yeah.
You get. So you come with a mindset of, this fellow Ugandan, she can't really treat me like badly.
Yeah.
But you need to understand that you're approaching a star who is worth millions and millions. She makes 40 millions a week.
Yeah.
So if she makes...
And that's before she steps on stage on the weekend.
That's Angela, Saturday and Sunday. She makes 20 or 40 million. So you need to put that in your mind. So it's not going to come easy. But I believe one of the best things that the kids the other side do to make sure they get the collaborations is benching. You must be ready to bench. You must be ready to follow up all the time. You must be ready for disappointments. Definitely the guy is going to say, we're going to do the collaboration, but then studio time comes and akabanga kamukubye. Studio time comes, yatu dead up. What do they call it? Alikakola. So certainly you're not going to lift him off the studio. So you need to be ready you need to be very patient with them. But the good thing is, like Ian said, the music business bit. Because the moment you secure that collaboration, it's going to make the money. And it doesn't have to be very expensive. Because probably, I don't know how much these guys record for, but if you go to a good studio, like the guys they're comfortable with, and actually that's also very important. Get them to a space where they feel comfortable. Because probably you'll take Rema to an uptown studio and she might feel a bit uncomfortable and might fail to deliver. You know, so work in a space where they feel very comfortable. Give them the option of choosing where they want to work from. So they'll tell you, I'm nice. Me, I want to work with Crotch. You get. So it's up to you to go and sit with Crotch and bring your producer to sit with Crotch so that you produce something that is nice. But I think it takes a lot of patience. And if you're not willing to invest in patience, then probably you don't know what you're looking for, because what we are looking for here is the music business aspect of it. Once you have a collaboration with Shiba, definitely you're assured of 100,000 views in the first month.
True.
You get it. So it's already bringing back the money. How much are you going to invest?
Yeah.
Because let me say, Senelli said, very big guy from this side. Definitely, even Shiba in her space sees him as a very big guy. In an audience, she never understands. You get. So it's upon him to use that power and that confidence when approaching this guy, when approaching Jeff, to tell him, I want to do a collaboration with Shiba. And, come with the idea, come with... You need basically to understand the guy. You need to understand him, because you find that the truth of the matter is most Kidandali artists have very low self-esteem. And most of the hip-hop guys will come with a lot of swag, a lot of self-esteem. And that's scary, like...
But it does that.
So you need to understand the kind of person you're going to work with and kind of try to get as low as possible. Because the moment they give you...
Your choice of what?
Man, the guy...
No, down the swag and everything.
Relax, man.
But the moment you're calm, the moment you're willing to be patient with them, it might take 6 months to pull it off. It might take, I don't remember. There's someone we were talking to who had an album, and I was like, you should have some features from downtown.
Yeah, you told me.
You get.
Yeah.
But because of the amount of time and tossing you around that will come with it, these guys often give up, but it's worth it.
But what do I feel like our hip-hop artists, I get, because it's a genre that's foreign. You're inspired by Jay-Z, you're inspired by Nas, J. Cole, Kendrick. But I feel like after getting that inspiration, you forget that at the end of the day, you're Ugandan.
Olimunda Masaka.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it doesn't make sense for you to want a collabo with Rema or somebody and you come with your ego. Ego of what? What do you have?
I know, but you see,
Because you know Jay-Z, who is $1.4 billion.
And by the way, that's not an example. This guy actually knows Jay-Z.
no, but like we actually talked about this again. I'm happy that you said that. You know, when we say some of these things, that maybe people think we are just talking for. But it's nice to hear that. You know, when you're saying sometimes people have to be ready to bench, be ready to be patient, ready to put the ego aside and work for this, chase this thing that you're trying to achieve. Because we tend to say that a lot of our people are a bit, let me say, entitled in a sense that they expect that just because I'm good, it's enough. It's not enough. It's not enough to be good. You may be the greatest, you may be the most talented rapper that we have ever heard in this country, but as long as you're not willing to take that extra step or step aside and move into these other things, you try and make something work because you have a vision, you have an idea, you chase it, you go for it. But I feel like many times we think it's just going to happen on first demand. So the moment we've asked and it has failed, we're like,
You know, but even in their space, in the hip hop space, because now that we are looking at the Afro beats and Afro pop artists, when you think about it, they actually do have competition amongst themselves.
Yes. And it's tough.
And it's tough. So on our side, hip hop, who's competing with who, and who's upping the stakes for the competition? Because if you realize, the game has been dominated by the same people of generation to generation. Yeah, we get new artists coming, but at the end of the day, it's the big names that will still stand out. Which leaves me wondering now, as a genre, like earlier you said, they need to be able to do collabos with the other artists from the other areas, so that they bring in that energy and
bridge the gap.
But also in terms of competition, they need to start competing with the other genres by involving the artists from the other genres. Because as a genre, you have failed to profitably compete within yourselves. So it's time to actually reach out. But that always seems to be a problem. I've never understood why over time we hear very few collabos where somebody has stepped out of that comfort zone. Like that, you hear like a Grenade official song with Navio, which is a surprise because it's something you never imagined. I don't understand exactly why the crossover has...
What's funny is you've mentioned Navia now, and if we look at many of the recent collabos of that nature, and many of them that then elevate him in this, and that is why he'll stay competitive and stay relevant in the space. Because again, the other day he has a rare with Sheena Sky. And it's like, listen, like, if you think of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the last year and a half.
And you know, actually, Navio, people need to read from Navio's playbook.
Absolutely.
Because when you think about it, as much as Rema or Winnie Nwaji will go and kubea Kwanjula Bani, Navio had Njogeres and those other jams. If you're a hip hop guy and you don't want Rema, you'll call Navio.
Yes.
you see, instead of reading the playbook, they are calling him a sellout. And things like that.
He's selling out the genre.
He's selling out the genre. But in actual sense,
and
yet in actual sense, he's really telling guys, it's good to rap. You can rap on your album, but if you need some money, like a money inside. And this is where the sponsors are looking at.
Let me tell you something. Because me, I don't care if Banyigira or not.
Tell them. As they're hitting us with
the truth of the matter is, you're going to stay rapping and protecting the American culture, but it's not going to take you anywhere. You're not even going to get a collabo with Diamond or Davido. You get? Because you're not going to get the views that you can sell to him. For him to accept a collabo with you.
The numbers.
Yes. Or you're not even going to have the $100,000 that he needs. And trust me, Navio will have it. You get? Or Eddie Kenzo will have it, and they'll pay, and they'll have a collabo with Davido. And back here, you'll be to square zero, protecting a culture. So I think things need to evolve. We can't stay in the same sense. The way Biggie or Pac, how they rapped and how the kids today rap is very different. Because life evolves. And even the guys who came before them, When you listen to hip hop from the 80s and the music, the American music from 80s, you realize that
Yeah.
you realize that things have changed so much. You get the way people like Prince, the way they delivered, and the way probably people like this Save Your Tears guy. What's his name? The one from Canada, from Ethiopia. Yes, that guy from Ethiopia.
Kenan.
No.
The Weeknd.
No. He's a new guy. He's trending. He's Canadian.
Canadian is the
Yes,
Weeknd.
with an afro. Weeknd.
The Weeknd.
No, not the Weeknd. Yes, the Weeknd. So, the way they sing today is probably not the way the guys in the 70s sang. You get. So we need to be adaptive. We need to understand the game and the situation and the current trends. And also, the fact of the matter is, Uganda is still uneducated. And you're singing English, and the words. There is some guy who sent me a song. I think it's called Larry, and I don't understand the title. Supernova. I don't understand what supernova means. Like, if I don't understand what supernova means before I go to Google.
Shout out to Larry.
Yes.
He's getting in dimensions of important people. So when they're doing TIDAL Africa, this guy, I don't understand what he says, but you work for your market.
Yes, but I'll push it through. But the thing is, if I don't understand it, then how is Mama Nakazi going to understand it? You get, because music is the title and the first 20 seconds of the beat. If I don't get it, then it's
especially in this streaming era.
Yes.
Those first 20
Someone has already
seconds are
soft
very
next.
being adaptive is very important. Let's take a very good example of a girl called Rihanna. Rihanna comes from a Caribbean country, probably those countries that everybody despises. The US. You get? But when she gets to the US, these hip hop guys are willing to work with her. I mean, in her own tone, in her own way of delivery, like a reggae girl. So, and she's now the richest girl, the richest artist in the world. And why is that? Because the Jay-Z's were willing to be adaptive. They were willing to change things. They were willing to work with someone from a different genre. Trust me, Rihanna is like a chosen Becky when we come to Uganda, because she comes from Masaka of the Americas. She comes with an accent of Tata, not even Tata, but Tata, you know. But if big people are willing to work with her, then definitely it means it's the right direction to take. So hip-hop guys need to understand, if you're going to do this music, you need to understand that at times the chorus probably has to be a band chorus. And then you come off rapping, because we need to sell to our audience. And
pretty much like how GNL had Eli Wamala.
Absolutely.
Hook.
Gravity did Paul Café. You know, however much people don't want to bless him as hip-hop, but imagine if he didn't have that, if he didn't transcend from that, he would still be in the ghettos of Nankulabi. You get? So you need to be a bit creative around the popular music, because that's what sells. And we're here for the money.
Exactly. Forget even hip hop. Ugandan music already boxed in. Exporting it has become hard. So what angle do we take in hip hop to bring the culture in and use it to export the music outside? If the regular artists who are successful, the Eddie Kenzos, of course Eddie Kenzo is special, but the rest who are still trying to export are finding it hard. How about hip hop?
Let me ask a question. Do we think Sakode is a hip hop artist?
Yes.
So why isn't Gravity a hip hop artist?
Gravity is. I think it is.
Well, according to the tribe, Gravity has been a hip hop artist ever since he started.
Of course he is.
I actually don't understand why people refuse to call him a hip hop artist.
So what I'm trying to build on is, the thing is, with culture, if we're going to export something from Uganda, we're not going to export something that says Lakers or Los Angeles or Washington DC, you know, or London. You get. We have to export something that says Masaka, something that says Mbarara. So in that sense, what I'm trying to say is, our stories need to start reflecting on Uganda, because that's what we can sell out there. And the reason I ask why I feel we need to change the mindset of thinking Gravity is not hip hop. Probably he kind of washed and the cloth kind of lost color, but it's okay. You can wash and make sure you maintain the fabric quality. So what I'm saying is let's try to find stories, try to find things that we can sing about and our audience can understand, the local audience, because that's where it starts from. Then we can start thinking about exporting it, because however much you can go with the current trend of hip hop, even if you go and do a song with I don't know who, Burna Boy, still it might not get too much on ground in Uganda. Because of the way you deliver it. I like how that tall guy delivered party after party.
Yes, big chill.
Okay. It's relatable. Simple words, not supernova kind of words. Like party after party. Yes, party. So over party hour, even the guys in the village, they understand to against the kuchi party. So making things simple for our people, we need to understand that yes, however much you can sing and hit high notes. Let me give you an example of Nava Gray. She probably can hit higher notes than she hits in her songs. But because you want people to sing along, you have to hit notes which they can also try to hit. Because if you go too far, then you're losing all of them. So I believe one of the things that we need to do is make sure that we start telling African-centric stories in a way we understand. Probably many of you from uptown have not grown up in a setting of kulira kulujuliro, in a setting of waking up in the morning and going to the garden, but still there are things we can relate to, like Katari. There are things into that everybody else can really grasp and understand and relate to. So if we tell those stories that people can understand, the unique stories of Border, the unique story, so many unique stories, and stop living in a bubble of America. Because that is, for me, I feel that's the problem. People are living in a bubble of, however much I'm in Kampala, I stay in Tinda, but me, I feel I'm in America. And that's really wrong, because you're going to tell stories. And for example, if you do a collaboration with a Nigerian, probably they have more Nigerians in America, and even the way you're telling your story doesn't really relate to the person in the US.
No, it's not even probably. They actually do. According to the thing you guys shared of Viva Nation, the numbers they show Nigeria.
That one is a known
fact. Nigeria has the biggest diaspora.
So I guess you kind of see that the way we tell our stories, they need to be our stories. Translate hip hop into our culture. Yeah? How did they call it?
For us, the guys, they do it like Kabaka more than 6.
But let's tell a story that everybody else can understand. Because if our people can understand it, then it means, if our people can relate to it, then it means it's very easy for that story to be told to a foreign audience. That's when we can export.
There are guys who tell these stories that you talk about, but they haven't been given the shot, the chance, the platform.
I told you, it takes patience. And not just to get the collaboration.
So now...
but just even getting the music played on CBS or Kabozi.
So there are guys like John Black. John Black used to be hip-hop. And he crossed over.
And
actually, there are a lot of guys that used to be hip-hop, but now they're in the mainstream and they are enjoying that mainstream success. And...
John Black used to rap in English.
No, Uganda. Uganda.
Yes.
So, personally, I feel like also we really can't, because now I'm trying to speak for the artists.
Yes.
One thing we've come to notice, or one thing we've come to realize, is that also the other stakeholders have sort of like dropped the ball on hip hop. And part of those stakeholders are the media guys. The media guys, especially in UG, they will cover hip-hop if there is something that has happened. Something big that has happened in hip-hop. Yes. I'll give you an example. When Fefe Busi did that thing where he went after everyone in the industry, that's when they were like, okay, who is who? Okay, now, today is after 5. Let's invite hip-hop guys. Let them have a thingy to speak on. Invite the other guy. And here's the funny thing. It's okay to do it. And I'm okay with it. I'm like 100% do it. But then do it the right way. you bring someone who hasn't released a song in 100 years, and you're like, come discuss, because the person,
Because it's
that person.
they are known.
Yeah, and then on top of that, the questions they're asking, oh my God, they didn't prepare, they didn't do what. Let me tell you, if I'm to host, let me say like, Kuku was a banger on this podcast. Trust me, I'm going to go do my research. This guy doesn't know Kuku.
I agree with you in the sense that we're talking about, we have James Propa here today. We've gone, we've watched
we've done research. But
You've watched our videos.
But our media guys, my God.
Yes.
And you go to these stations, that's what I'm telling you.
And I'm also guilty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like they really don't do the research that needs to be done.
Yes.
And then also they only cover hip hop in a seasonal sense.
But you know why?
Why?
Do you know why? Because of the competition. Let me tell you something. Kasuku out there is trying to make his Saturday show shine.
Yeah.
And to make it shine, probably he has to work with David Lutalo because that's if last week he fought with his wife, then it's what's going to make news.
Yeah.
So certainly the stories that come from hip hop aren't told to this audience. Like music involves a lot of promotion and pushing and patience, like I said. So the reason why they don't do research, or even when they're going to talk about hip hop, they'll invite the same guys, is because it's too much work for them. They feel it's too much work for them, and certainly I'm guilty as well. But certainly most of them are not guilty.
For you, you're not guilty. Go to watch you walk. Just begin. You have me here. Just send me a text. Like, I have to go to here.
So, but you see, Kati, these I don't know, I want to call them kids. These hip hop new kids.
Yeah.
They are not trying to reach out.
Yes.
When they do a song, they'll never send a link to Douglas.
Agreed.
You get. So how will Douglas ever know that there is a J-Watt somewhere? Or there is a Cohen JC somewhere? So he'll still, when he thinks about, now let's talk about this genre called hip-hop. In his mind, the first people that will come are the people that he interacts with. The people that are close to him. So what I think is, it's a continuous fight to break that barrier. It's a continuous fight that has to come from this side. It's disappointing. It's draining, but it has to be done. Like those guys, they're already there. They make their millions on their shows, and they're very comfortable. And they're not going to fight for a genre that they feel is kind of minor to them. So the minor genre has to fight, like it was in the 90s when radios like Sanyu or Capito were not playing any Ugandan song. But to my surprise today, they're playing 90% local content. And why is that? Because the chameleons, the Bebe Cools, the Bobby Wines, they fought to make sure that they can get space on these radio stations because they felt they needed that audience too. So if the hip hop guys feel they want that audience too, then they must go for it. You don't blame the media personality that they don't care about their genre. Let me tell you something. Kadongo Kam is dying. Probably you don't know, but Kadongo Kam is dying.
You might
Band
be right.
music
You
is
might be
dying.
right. Might be right.
You get. But still,
Let me ask you, like me, I grew up in a house where Eagles production was being played. Like, those tapes, those Kasiwo Killer tapes, they put it in your Eagles production. Like, basically, that, at 9 inches. Like, let me tell you, we had a house help. That was the parents, boom, Ash, boom, and then she starts playing the music. And sometimes you find yourself like, when they play for you the song over and over, you're going to gravitate to it.
Yeah.
Like there are times when I'm with her guy and we are driving and I'm the one controlling the music because he's driving, I play a Ronald Mainja song and he's in shock. He's like, hey, what's that? And me, first of all, I've always felt like there are some classics that need to be sampled. So that they can translate and reach the audience. And some of those are like Just Now Bega songs where she sings Abachakala Mochakale. Like that's
you can certainly chant on it.
Yes. So now my question is the first question is, I think this is for other guys like me who grew up listening to that music, is do you think band music like the Eagles production and all those guys is dying because they are not passing on to the young kids? They are not bringing up the next young kids? Because to me, I feel like it has some extent it has happened. Then the other thing is the fact that you are speaking of Kidandali, and you know most of these people, if let's say I wanted to sample a song, like let's say I miss a Semakula song where it's like, what's that song where she's telling Tompa Lampa? That song, yeah. If I wanted to sample such a song, you understand it? How do I go about it? How do I reach
Let's
these
go one
people?
by one,
Yeah.
please. So first question is,
Do you think band guys haven't
it's
passed on
dying
the
because they're
mantle?
not passing on. So the thing that happened is when artists started to do Afropop, translating from Zouk in 2010, in the 2010s, showbiz kind of took over everything. So now the guys who could, be in the news for whatever, dating a girl, all these wrong reasons, they took the day. And people like me, such now, we are growing a bit older. And that kind of leaves a gap. It leaves a vacuum. They left a vacuum. And it's the same thing I was telling Uncle Moy of Afrigo, Moses Matovu, that
This guy knows the right people. I
You
want to
are-
sample Afrigo music.
I was saying you are so much focused on delivering quality, but you need to be adaptive. You need to understand that the kids that are doing music today, the jammy cultures, they have a different touch, they have different experiences, and how they're going to do music. So you need to bring them on board.
And then also they're putting out quicker.
Yes, make sure Afrigo survives in the next generation because you're 72 now, 62 now. In any time now, you're leaving. So when you leave, yes. So when you leave, who are you going to leave Afrigo band behind for? So you need to kind of nurture new talent and also understand that, okay, to Bakolere of Wednesday, where they just play their things, but maintaining a certain standard and quality. But you need to be adaptive. So that is one problem. The band guys weren't willing to be adaptive and change and do play showbiz because they were growing older. They were also very rich at that point. You know, when you're rich, you kind of have this comfort. You now have houses. Mr. Tsemakula has literally transformed his house like 1,000,000 times. You get, because he's rich.
Yeah.
He's that rich. If he feels, no, I don't want to sleep in this bedroom, he'll just do an extension on the other side. So someone rich like that, they kind of sat back and relaxed. And that is what has killed band music. The other thing is, when they got a lot of money, they weren't willing to reinvest it in the business. Because one...
I think that's a general Ugandan music problem.
Yes. So they were willing to do like bars, hotels. I understand Rutaya has Daban Motel, Najana Nkumbi, Misach has Papa's Spot now and a studio, and so they're doing all these kind of investments, but not really focusing on the industry. Yes, they're not willing to reinvest in the industry, and that's a general problem, and it's the same problem why we do not have artists getting as rich as Bobby Wine got, because the kids are too stressed. When you get a big song, you basically have to reinvest all your money in trying to get another song. You get, people like Gravity, he's only been able to buy a new car now, but he probably would be having as much money as probably Bebe Cool or Bobby Wine has, because he came in at the right time. But because the genre he was doing was kind of very demanding, he kind of reinvested all his money into music. So if kids don't have that kind of comfort where someone is just investing in you and all you have to do is deliver on your voice, deliver on the stage, then it becomes quite challenging, and that's what kills those genres. That's what has killed Kadongo Kamu, because there was no nurturing, and it's the same spirit in hip-hop, that spirit of why you're spoiling our genre. You get, Kadongo Kamu guys felt, when you bring in band guys, because band comes from Kadongo Kamu, and Afrobeat comes from Kadongo Kamu, the Ugandan Afrobeat as we know it, or the Zouk, like everything has a relation to Kadongo Kamu. So if Kadongo Kamu guys didn't understand that, at a certain point, Basude wasn't making sense to the generation that was present at that time. Misach came up. You get, because Misach reinvented. At a certain point in 2008, when Paul Cafero had just died, a One Mose Radio comes up, basically doing Paul Cafero. When you listen to Mose Radio's music, it's typical Paul Cafero. 2010, when nobody is willing to support and understand and help, Eddie Kenzo comes up, doing Ham and Basude.
Yeah.
You get? So the problem is people in doing these genres are very, how do you call it? Conservative.
They are purists.
Yes.
Like don't want to
don't
dilute
spoil
that
our
thing,
thing.
yeah.
So in saying don't spoil our thing, they are dying with their thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
You
and
get
want to dilute his coincidence.
So hip hop, when the Navios are gone, and the other guys, the Sentinelists are gone, and these new guys, they are probably still struggling, trying to keep something pure. This world, there is nothing like keeping something pure. If the internet didn't change from what it was, we wouldn't be having 4G.
Yeah.
So at a certain point, we need to change. We need to change our minds and understand that, yes, sampling songs is good. You know, if you're going to go to, that brings me to your second question. If you're going to go to Misach to get to sample his song, don't give him your hip hop stuff. He'll hear it as crap. So what are you going to sample? So go with a demo that has where you've already done something, where you can listen and say, okay, I think this is good. But when you put for him a J Watts thing, he'll be like, Tavani.
But you see that that's the kind of fusion and reinvention we're trying to do for the industry. Because someone like Misach, someone like Eddie Kenzo already has the market that hip hop is struggling with. So I guess the real challenge here is how do you go to Misach to sample his track for a hip hop song, but still keep it pure, yet appeal to his audience and still make it hip hop?
The story that you're telling, because he needs to be able to relate to it.
He needs to buy
as long as he doesn't relate to it, then he will not let you touch his audience. But also the other thing that is wrong but good, sample.
Yeah. And because that's what I was going to ask you. Because when you go to sample,
they'll not come for you if the song is not big. And when it becomes big, you're making money now, you can pay.
Because I was going to ask you, don't they ask for money?
Yeah.
And if they do ask, like, what's the ballpark figure?
How you go about it is depends on how.
So basically, if I have a James to introduce me,
probably the way you go. If you go like
like our Ian guy, you go like Elena.
You know, good, they never fail.
And let me tell you something. One of the things that really catches attention of people is research. Don't go to research without understanding his weak spots. Understand Vichebi Mokolachi, things that can turn him on. Understand his story. Do you have something you can tell him about Uwate, where he comes from? You get. Do you have something that you can tell him about his journey when he was still on the street? Like there is always that
something
thing.
Like what his music did for you when he was also coming up.
Yeah, it reminded me of when I heard
Something
your story
like-
of this. It inspired me.
My mom still plays your songs all the time, you know?
Even if
And-
you have to lie.
Yes, even if you have to lie. Because these artists they've had so many things from so many people.
Yeah.
But so many people so few people come with something that is pure, something that they can really relate to and can make their heart weak. But like I said, don't go and ask before you do the work. First do the work because he doesn't understand your genre. So first do the work, then take him the work. If you feel it's too much work, or whatever happens. Because I'm telling you, I've realized that we've been encouraging artists to be, to do all these things right, but breaking through is hard.
Yeah.
Some guy just came up naimba bakaba sajja banyuma. Have you heard that song?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Nabi ebinyuma. Bakaba sajja banyuma.
Actually, Mark can
You get.
We should send it to Max.
Mark can relate to that, I'm sure.
So breaking through is very hard. You do whatever it takes to break through. That's what Gravity did. He never got the rights to do the Paul Cafero thing. I'm saying what is right is, I'm not saying I'm encouraging it, but I'm just saying because I understand breaking through is very hard.
Yeah.
But if it's the only thing you have to do, then do it.
What your name, man?
Yes, because nobody's going to sue you unless the song is big. And once it becomes big, you've made only 10 million off YouTube. Let him take, even the court will say, but this boy, he's just 25. How much money has he made from this song?
And also the lawsuit will bring you media attention.
Yes, and you'll actually have media attention all over you. So, yeah.
But you see, also another challenge, even if someone goes through the hassle, someone sample and make the song, it's still hip hop. The challenge we have is monetizing their art. Because, like you've said, things change over time. Music changes, the audience changes, and right now we are in an internet streaming era. But again, someone will release a song, and we've complained about this before. You have to chase him on SoundCloud, you have to chase him on TIDAL, you have to chase him on these things. The industry does not quite yet understand the importance of streaming platforms and what it means to actually align your music in that regard. As someone that has experience there, how can you guide them through understanding how to make use of the internet era to reach the audience?
So, first of all, before he answers, I need to issue a disclaimer. Proper, don't take my customers.
No, I'm not taking your
I know you're that guy.
I'm not taking your customers. and something I'm going to say is probably something I've never had a chance to share. For example, when you look at TIDAL and the playlists that we make, we try to make them as mainstream as possible.
Yeah.
So probably hip hop guys feel kind of not supported much, though we create platforms to support them. But certainly, in monetizing music, you need an audience.
Yeah.
And even me who is selling the product, I need an audience that is going to pay. And certainly, yes, mainstream guys don't understand yet, they are not educated, but those that are educated, let's reach out to those. Let's get them to buy music. And one of the important things that I think has to be done, like I said, the other things just fall in place, because when you look at the top 100 probably, top streamed songs, you realize that still there is a lot of mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
And certainly it takes us back to our conversation. Go get into the mainstream space. Before you get into the mainstream space, however much we'll push, we'll still have the 50,000 downloads or views or whatever.
Yeah.
So get into the mainstream space. Secondly, share your content as much as you can. Work with distributors that can actually get your content out there and get it to the audience. For example, all these platforms are here. People are on Apple Music, people are on Spotify, people are on TIDAL, people are on Deezer. But how many companies, if you're still going through the online platforms, you just distribute and leave it there? You're not really trying to make money out of it. Because these guys don't pitch, they don't send newsletters, they don't provide any kind of support.
But those things Skyline Media,
Yes,
the tribe does.
but at least the tribe does. When you work with the tribe, at least they can get your content out there. They can get it pitched. They can get it marketed, and suddenly that translates into market. So, but I still find most of the guys, they'll still go through a DistroKid. No, I don't mean any harm, but they'll still go through, these platforms.
Just
They'll
post and go.
Yeah, just post and leave it there. It goes beyond leaving it just there. So when you start reaching out to the tribe or Ditto or CCA or whatever, this guy, you'll start learning things. And probably if I don't support on this, if the tribe doesn't support on the first release, they kind of have a date to support you better on the next one.
True.
And it kind of grows like that. And before you know it, you're landing on deals with Empire or Platoon. You get. So to get to that, you need to go through the steps, baby steps, slowly. But I think the entire thing is about pitching. The entire thing is about getting playlisted. The entire thing is about getting your music out there. But also the thing is getting played by a DJ Massey or DJ Roger. You get, for marketing purposes. The thing is getting to Howie Biz, because it is where everybody is downloading music
I've
from.
already said those guys are necessary evil.
Yes. Yes, and those platforms are everywhere. It's just a few people that will say, I don't want my music to leak. The reason why Justin Bieber will deliver his album 1 week to release to DSPs is because he wants it to leak. You get, that's the whole point.
Some guy there in the system, the transition.
We'll pull it out and put it to the public. I've worked on releases for almost every big artist in the world. And I've realized that trend. It's either Kanye West says he's delivering at midnight, New York time, and will only deliver the album at 7. So 6 hours before, so that he doesn't leak. Then you have a Justin Bieber who will deliver his album 1 week too. You get? Because they have different targets. This guy still wants to make as much money out of it, and leaking the music is one of the promotional opportunities that comes through.
Yeah.
So getting your music to things like Howie B's, MP3 Jaja, you know, getting posted about by Mbu or BigEye.ug is as important for a hip hop artist as it is important for a Kidandali guy. So get in those spaces. Getting on CBS for Dictator Mark's show in the night is very important for you to start penetrating CBS. You get? Because as you go there, you're going to meet Yasin DJ, who works during day. So somehow they can get your music through. When you have another record, and it will also change your mindset about things. The problem is we stay in a bubble. Where you stay with your audience. Same friends, same vibe, same everything, same weed, same coke, same everything. So
change your plan.
Yes. Don't smoke the same stuff all the time. Go to Machi India.
I like how you've used like more than once, and I'll keep saying it. These things that we have said, this bubble mentality that we've pointed out before. These small things that you have to get out of it, because otherwise, and I will say it again, if you're going to release music for your 10 friends, release it in the WhatsApp group.
Yes.
If you want to make it rich, you will have to be willing to take the extra mile.
So this gentleman opened the door of streaming, and you mentioned something about the most streamed songs.
Yes.
So without violating your NDA, what were the top 10 streamed Ugandan songs last year?
I need to check.
First, give the people. Let them know. People here.
Last year was 2020.
People be telling us they made $1 billion shillings off.
Hey, man. You've seen.
I told someone.
And that album came out last year, right?
Yeah, independently sold for $1 billion shillings.
I told someone, oh, your Mugamba gedasi nikideri ebinya. Yes, because not even one song is in the top streamed songs. Yes. I mean, I don't mean to disrespect, but
this is on
it's
popular
wrong.
Platforms.
Yes, on popular platforms. Yes. Even when you go to Howie Biz, even when you go to YouTube, because YouTube will give us the
number.
It basically gives
the picture.
Yes, it gives you the picture.
Of what to expect.
If a song has 20 million views on YouTube, it certainly means it's getting streamed elsewhere. But if you have 20,000 views on YouTube and you're telling us you made $1 billion shillings, from where? So some of the big songs from last year, Mundao B2C, Kwatasimu, Free Boy Wininwaji, Malamu, Palaso, Daddy Andre Tugenemu Church, Jangu Wininwaji, Semie Kozo Ratata, Kokonya.
Who is Kokonya?
Kokonya Spice Diana Harmonize, Sharpshooter, Choino Mania. Remix, Crystal Panda. Is Crystal Panda a hip hop artist?
Yeah, some songs are hip hop. No, some songs are hip hop, some songs are not.
But for him, we don't work.
Why do you stay on the fence, Orange?
I'm not on the fence.
Why do you?
I'm not on the fence. Let me tell you.
Like you said earlier, some of these artists do, depending on what the beat
and also I think Crystal Panda saw it and he was like, you know what, the money is on this side.
Yes.
Okay,
you need to do a bit of Kidandali. I have Long Time, Maulana Rain, Bettina Namukasa, Amaso, Remix, that's The Myth, Winnie Nwaji Vinka, Fefe Busi, DJ Harold. Echamare, Madabakula, Tumbiza Sound, Easy. I don't know how if Easy is Kidandali or hip hop.
Easy is hip hop.
Yes.
And like when you go to Gulu, like
he's the biggest guy in Gulu.
I went to when we were doing the MTN 20 years thing. I went with George to perform in Gulu, and like every supermarket, every petrol station went to the play Easy. We had to ask who is this guy. And
now you know. Tumbiza Sound, Where Are You, Munji?
Another guy in there. So how many songs are those of?
I don't know. Probably
artists.
20.
Anyway, the reason I was asking is that
Yes.
in case.
But I have some few songs here that I don't want you to miss. Balance, Karokasita, Sam Kamane, Adrenaline Music.
Sorry about it.
I'll stop there. Say okay,
You see,
but you see, at least we have some songs in the top 20.
The reason that's why I was asking also is that, like you say, in collaboration, is that for guys to know, if let's say Ashiba hasn't responded to your email, there is a chosen blood that you can talk to, and you still have that bang.
Because the chosen blood will open eyes of Shiba that this guy is actually here. And you see, when, for example, a song plays on TV, and probably in Shiba's home, and you were trying to get her collaborate with you, and she's disturbing, don't give up. Just keep pushing. But on the side, start working with. But start working with chosen blood on the side. So, as she's watching
drinking.
after 5, your song with chosen blood is playing. And she's like, oh, this is the guy. Guy, okay. Now she starts giving it thought. You need to play.
She calls Jeff.
She probably will not call you, but she'll wait for the next time you
reach out.
contact them.
But you also see our hip hop artists, especially the new ones, they need to be a bit smarter, because if you have these new artists who are breaking out in those other genres, before he becomes that big, because look at them, Crystal Panda, brand new on the scene, collabo with Shiba. You get if for them they can have that access, why don't you use him, like you're saying, have a collabo with him. He has a song with Shiba. If your song also gets up there, you're at Shiba's. You're in her eye view now. You're in the radar. Before you know it, you jump on another song with somebody else, and then you get access
basically
to
growing.
Yeah.
And when you mention about Crystal Panda, not sure if you guys have seen Crystal Panda perform with Shiba.
Yeah.
He literally wants to kneel every time.
I saw that club.
Club beats.
And we call that Kawani. Kawani K. Like, you have to show her, thank you so much, so that she can give you the next one. Because if you don't, she's not going to give you another one.
That's an important cheat code.
Yes. So, like in the public, I was watching the end of year show that was on TV. We were all home.
Yeah.
I believe you guys also watched. Remember to marry Netflix.
We're applying.
Yes. So they came, they performed, and Crystal Panda was basically on his knees. Oh, Mama, thank you so much. You got me out to the world. Thank you. So this is the kind of celebrities want that.
Yeah.
And however much we want to feel that, these Kidandali guys are useless. My friend,
I think that's like human nature. Even on graduation, you must think that that person hey, changed my life.
Yes. So those guys are big, and they want that. Like, they want everybody else to be below them. So if you want to get something out of them, and trust me, hip hop is very popular if it's done right.
Yeah.
It's so funny you've mentioned that, and you know that the average, or at least many of the hip hop fans, think of Ian, like if I think of most of our friends that use, let's say, a TIDAL or whatever, many of the hip hop fans are on these platforms. So that means we should be able to raise these streams for our people, basically. But that also depends on our people. We know that the fans have where the fans are, they don't do their part, but also it needs the artist to do theirs for the fan, because at the end of the day, you're the one who wants to be listened to. So you have to push, then this guy at a certain point has no choice but to wake up. Yes. Because, and again, you mentioned the baby step word, and Ian has actually used this before. It's like, we have to understand that, yes, as fans, as a culture, as whatever, we're rigid, but people have to, sometimes we are biased, but people have to baby step us out of the bias. Yeah. And that is the thing. You need to, you just have, like, it's not going to happen at once. But you have to be willing to put in the work constantly, and then we'll get there. About those streaming platforms, do you think there are any, like, should I say, are there any difficulties in convincing? It's like when an Uber first came through, we didn't have cab mentality as Ugandans. We first of all, like, normal special high is telling you 30K from Mtinda just to about where Mulago, like small stuff. So then we didn't have cab mentality, so it takes people a long time to get out of not using them at all to using an Uber, at least for instance. You find that you're leaving Pana at night before COVID. You're leaving Pana at night, and you're going somewhere, and it's like 7 7K for an Uber, and someone is going to take a 7K border. But you're like,
Yes.
if I can be in a car for 7K, why am I on a
Why am I
border
on a
for
border
for
for
7K? But we had to, get out of that mentality slowly.
Yeah.
So do you think, are you facing, or do you think there are any difficulties in convincing people or letting people understand that the streaming thing is
I think
important?
educating the people. on the streaming is
Yes.
important.
So one of the biggest challenges is artists are still focusing on the free platforms more.
Yeah.
Like even when you check their feeds, you'll give them placement in
sharing.
club bangers, or you'll give them placement in African hip hop, and they'll never share that.
I've witnessed that firsthand.
It's funny he has said what again.
I helped Fikfa Maker and Spice Dan and their song to get
Yes.
placed on some East African
Yes.
playlist on Apple
Yes.
Music and also on
Yes.
the Shazam thing.
Yes.
But the struggle they had to go through to get Fikfa Maker and Spice Dana to share
it.
the assets on the social media.
Yes.
Saying, okay, this is a playlist. Like, yo,
And they are willing to share
Yo.
in 20 seconds from how we be.
that countdown about it.
Yes.
That countdown. Oh my God.
That car screenshot is all over the place.
Hey, shout outs
So-
to Mukama Eva, to my how it could disconnect. To my guy. I don't think I'm rubbishing your platform.
Yeah,
It's a
so
good one.
that's one of the biggest challenges. Like if the people that are growing the passion fruits are not willing to add value to the passion fruits so that they have a better market, then nobody's going to. The customers we shall wait for whatever is in the market. So, and what we see in the market is what we shall buy. If you get the bad seeds, it's what you bring to the market. It's what we will buy at the price. So the artists are not understanding the concept yet, and there is an education gap which we need to understand, both formal and just teaching ourselves, because whatever we learned at school is not what you're doing now, but
Yeah.
we sort of teach ourselves, and that is sort of always scared. They're scared to try out new things. So that's why you find that how we biz is very easy for them,
Yeah.
because they talk to these guys in the language they understand, in the concept they understand. They show them downloads. People have downloaded it 1,000,000 times. Then you see a screenshot of 1,000,000 times. But this platform that gives them 0 point something dollars, they'll not share it because they don't understand the concept very well. So we still have an education problem, and of course, definitely, like I said, it is the passion fruit growers that are supposed to help the market become better. So if they don't use these platforms themselves, if they don't, because I don't understand why an artist who makes 5 million a month or a week, let me say, for the big guys, who makes 5 million a week doesn't pay $10 for at least 5 platforms just to monitor and understand what's happening in the world. Like yesterday, Eddie Kenzo released an album in competition with DJ Khaled.
Yes, I was actually listening to
Salute
both
to Eddie
at the same time.
So, salute to Ed Kenzo.
If you understand, yes, salute to him. But if you understand that you're going to compete with DJ Khaled,
Yeah.
then you start to understand a few things like, so how long might DJ Khaled's album be? Who might feature on DJ Khaled's album? So how do I fit into that competition? Why should I release 21 songs? Why not release 11 or 10? You know, just so that you can fit in the competition. Because if you're releasing an album on the same day with that guy, probably he has Jay-Z, he has
Nas.
The features are
Right.
mad.
Yeah.
like he has everybody big.
Man.
So why is someone going to listen to you and not the other?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you start thinking about these things and start to understand them as an artist, it helps you understand how you're supposed to put out your content to the public. So it certainly goes back to the artists themselves. It's them that are supposed to make these things work. An artist should be on Apple Music, like Eddie Kenzo released an album. Is he number 1 on banner in Apple Music?
Yeah.
I think also Questa released yesterday,
Yes.
and he was on the ban of
And you know, I'd not thought about it until you mentioned it, because when I was during the week, my excitement, my hype for Friday was I knew Eddie Kenzo was dropping, I knew DJ Khaled was dropping. But like you said, when I got Eddie Kenzo's album and I saw 21
You
songs,
actually mentioned it now. We were like,
Yeah.
but the songs are many.
I'm like 21 songs in this era of streaming. First of all, you've dropped on the same day as Khaled. And remember, naturally, I support UG music. I don't care who you are.
Ooh, yeah.
So I'm going to listen to you, but I'm more of a hip hop guy. So I'm going to listen to your 21 songs, but at the same time, I have to listen quickly because I need to listen to DJ Khaled.
Now, let me tell you something, Ian. If you, psychologically, if you are driving from here to Chengera, let me say, from Tinda to Chengera, you need about 1 hour to drive to Chengera.
Yeah.
So if you're listening
Except in yesterday's traffic. But go on.
on a normal day, you need 40 minutes, probably 1 hour to drive there.
Yeah.
So you are listening to Eddie Kenzo's album, and by the time you get to Chengera, it's 1 hour and 22 minutes long. By the time you get to Chengera, you've listened to up to probably track number 15. You're still remaining with 6 songs.
Yeah.
So you park, you do whatever you're doing, then you get into your car. Remember, the way people structure albums is interesting, then start boring. So do I continue? Do I go back to the top?
Yeah.
So that's where the game now comes in. Now, if there were 11 songs, when I reach Chengera, probably in the middle of the way, your album got completed at around 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Then I switched to DJ Khaled. Then by the time I reach Chengera, I'm on DJ Khaled's 5th track, probably. Then, when I'm starting to drive back, if your album was exciting,
I'm going back.
I'll go back to listen.
True.
But if I'm at track number 17 and things are starting to get a bit drowsy for me, then certainly I'm going to switch to someone else.
Yeah.
So now you see how you're losing out on the people that would be streaming and streaming, getting into the culture of streaming you like 5 times a day. They instead stream once, not even the full album. So you'll start seeing that the first song will have probably 1 million streams, and the 21st song will have 50,000 streams. And that doesn't make sense.
And you've said that, and I've remembered one of your interviews as well, with regard to album creation, like not just what Felix said in there, not just compiling songs and putting them there and saying, but the work that goes into setting it up and planning it and knowing that this is my goal, this is what I want to achieve, so this is how I'm going to do it with these songs arranged in this particular order. Make sure my listener can enjoy, like a listener like me, I like an album experience. I like to listen from beginning to end. So I need you to make it easy
But you
for
have
me.
3 hours.
Yeah, that's right. I need you to make it easy for me to listen from beginning to end.
Yeah.
You understand? And we tell them that this goes, I know, again, some people will think it's a question of you trying to put them, I don't know, whatever they want to call it, but it's the same thing as let's put it on a bigger level and look at a Chris Brown. We all know, or at least for some of us, it was easier for us to listen to his albums back in the day when they were normal style to when they became 40 songs.
40 songs.
An album. I mean, this time it's not even Chengera, this is road trip to
The Mark R&B reference has come through.
Of
I was wondering when it's going to come through.
no, there's another.
James, the other thing I want to ask you, for example, Spotify just launched, right? So, and this is from a business perspective, from a business end for the industry, stakeholders and players. What does it take, or what do such companies look at when they are trying to launch into a new market? For example, Spotify just launched, but they have done no activation in Uganda, but they've done activations in Kenya. And other countries have done activations, but they've done nothing here in Uganda. Even with our artists, they haven't bothered.
Even some menus, there's no podcast.
It's going to tell us basically these things.
Yes.
Because I've called you 100 times about the home.
Let's start from the because I forget things. One at a time.
No, I was still explaining my
That's
question.
my friend from Chile.
I'm explaining my question. For example, I've bothered you 100 times about the carousel.
Yes, I'm tired.
Yeah,
Yes.
but like of recent, I was seeing when Jay-Z created the Nas.
Yes.
In anticipation for the DJ Khaled album, someone took a screenshot in States and they had the carousel. So I made them like, oh, it's us guys who don't just have it. So my question to you is, what do they look at when they're launching these markets? Because like you said, some functionalities are disabled on the app. A lot of things that we miss out on. Yeah.
So, one, I'm not a business development guy for these things. So I'm just speaking what I think. So probably it's not true, probably it's true, but it's what I think. Chemanyi. So, first of all, I think what they look out for is the rate of growth in the market. You see, Uganda is a very small market. However much government and teachers lied to us that Uganda is the Pearl of Africa, which is completely wrong. But
that was a branding thing from colonialists. It's
but
Pearl of Africa.
Uganda is growing, and when they see the figures, they see that there is potential for the future. But the thing is, let me say for Spotify, I don't think it was more of because Uganda is going to become very big. For them, it was a global open up. They were just opening up globally. I think they launched in about 18 other markets. You get. And of course, now the question is, why are they for Africa? Why are they choosing to do marketing for Kenya and they're choosing to do marketing for Nigeria? Probably so many reasons. One, because it's easier. Their industries are, their people are already at a point where they can translate into buying customers from free customers. The other thing is the devices. You find that those apps have like a certain standard of devices. So when they do their research and they see that most of the people are still at Android 5, they'll certainly not put in much money because they understand that people will change with time, but at this point, it's not worth going into a market that has only 200,000 devices that are capable of holding the app. So they'll probably focus on markets like Nigeria, which have huge numbers of people, and certainly even the devices are huge. Like the number of devices is huge. So it's just the numbers. It's the numbers that plays us. It's the numbers why our markets will remain small. Because let me tell you something. For example, the data that comes from TIDAL, probably at a high level, someone can use that data to make a decision on what they'll offer for Uganda. And also the things like carousel. It's more of a thing of making the experience as personal as possible. That's why we removed it, to make sure the experience is for you.
So now you said mostly it's now like your mix.
Yes,
because
it's
you listen
your
to this,
stuff.
there's this.
Because also our content comes in a bit slow, so we can't curate as much as the Americans are curating. However much you want to update a hip hop playlist, you need at least a month to make a refresh. The US team for TIDAL has about 10 editors. And for hip hop, they have like 5, not even 10. Those guys have like so many editors for gospel, for these different things. And some of them are not really employees. They just come in with a deal, just do something, they get paid. So a market like that, you can't compare it to a market like Uganda, where we had a list of artists who were tracking, but realize in 3 months, you'll make an update and you'll have about 50 songs. You get. So such a market, it's better when you do personal experience than general experience.
That makes sense.
Yes. So I also didn't understand it in the first place, but I grew to understand it that people come to these platforms because they probably have other things they want to listen to beyond our local content. I mean, we show them our local content, new albums, new songs, new everything.
Top party songs in Uganda.
Yes, but people come because they want to probably stream country music. So a person who wants to stream country music, it's rare that I'll place 2 playlists from country music in our probably top playlists section. So it's better when the system just thinks for you and says, oh, so Felix, you love a lot of country music. Okay, now we're suggesting this playlist, or we're suggesting this album, or we are suggesting this artist radio. So it's more of a personal experience, and that's what we are growing, and I feel that's what's going to work for smaller markets like Uganda. Yes.
The other
So
question,
it's intimate.
The other question I had is, like you said, guys, like how it be is when they give screenshots to artists, guys post a million. In your process as TIDAL, when you're educating the masses, do you think it's key to involve guys like how it be in the educative process? Because I will give an example of DJ Rico. He went on a Twitter rant. He went on a Twitter rant, and I didn't agree with most of the things he said, and I can't even repeat them on here. But you know what he said.
Why are we having this conversation about him?
So my question is do you guys plan on involving such people in the educating process, or when you're educating the masses and stakeholders that streaming is here? Or is, you know what, let them do them. We also stick in our lane.
The models are different. For them, it's a promotional platform. It's like a CD hub or those kiosks. Yeah. However much we would want to involve them, but how? How do I involve the Howie Biz who is giving out music free? You get, it's a promotion platform, and as a person in the music industry, I support them 100% to stay there because they play a role. But when it comes to educating the masses, I feel it's upon the artists and the platforms. It's not anybody else. It's not going to be MTN. It's not going to be Airtel. It's not going to be anybody else. It's going to be us, the people in the industry, the curators, the label managers, the music companies. It's us that are supposed to do the education. Because you see, streaming kills business for Howie Biz. Streaming kills business for DJ Rico.
But it makes revenue for the artist.
Yes, but it makes revenue for the artist.
Yeah.
So if the artist is about making money, then probably they just need to get involved in educating the masses, in sharing the links.
Yeah.
Because that's where it starts from. Why do you do an album and you don't share your links? Even a YouTube link, like, just the album dropped, search for it. It's too much work for me. I want to click and get things done. Like, I want things to be as easy as possible for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like how I'm a TIDAL hub. Guys use me as TIDAL customer care.
We have to tell this gentleman. We need some TIDAL money. We've been telling people how it's
Yes.
Do like this. Talking like this.
So, what we need to understand,
Yeah, get you TIDAL.
off books. Guys, whoever are listening to this, please don't use it against me or anybody. TIDAL just got bought by Square, by Jack Dorsey.
Our guy was in that meeting.
Yes.
Our guy is not here, but he was there. Yeah, but go ahead.
So Jack bought TIDAL, and TIDAL has been, trying to make things happen, but financial constraints and all. But for now, I think things are going to get easy. Like Mark says, people use him as TIDAL customer care, and we are grateful. But things are going to get much easier. We're working on changing the customer journey for people, so it's more seamless, easier, so that they don't need to call. Because I think the problem comes in when, at the point of payment and translating payments into the app and, just getting the app work. But we are trying to work on the customer journey. And I feel now with the Square acquisition, things are going to become quite easy. And probably we'll also, like you talked about education. We're going to do more education. We're going to do more conferences, more events, more, just getting involved with the industry, more trainings. We had pitched all this stuff where we actually wanted to even have some of the producers go to the US to experience the system, to experience the business. Yes, so that by the time they come back, they are better. And I got that idea from when Sasha Vibes shot the stress-free video for Eddie Kenzo and Face Off. Face Off is a hip-hop guy, right? So I felt like him going to South Africa to study helped him up his game. Because when you look at the video that he did for Daddy Andre, Gift of Kado, and Becky 256, Be With You, before he went to South Africa, you can see a huge difference. That's why education is important. So in terms of education, I think we are going to focus on getting everybody empowered as much as we can. We just hope and pray that we have these budgets, and but you see, it begins with everybody getting involved to push for change, for mindset change. For, like, we pushed for Uber. We used it, like, just out of, sometimes you just say, let me just take an Uber. Because you need to support these people. Like, I drink beer, not because I want to drink beer. But I know those families of people who... the families of people who work at UBL.
That is Mark's theory.
You're being selfless.
Yes.
I keep telling you people, we're just applying the system.
Anyway, so we have to let you go.
Yes.
But before we let you go, we have some 2-3 questions.
Yes. Bring it
Question
on.
number one.
Yeah.
Shiba versus Spice Diana. Which side are you on?
If there's a versus, what?
If there's a versus, if Tidal organizes a versus.
I think I was
No. Please. Don't say anything, Tidal. Now this is about
Hey, so James said, there's a horse at Chadondo Cricket Ovo.
Yes.
Where are you going?
So the thing is, for me and my history, I'm one of the people who believed in Spice when she was starting with Dr. Fizzo. So she's my sweetheart.
Started too.
You know, I shouldn't have asked that question because you were having what's that Muslim
Futari.
Yes,
She's my girl. But I love Shiba too. But I would choose Spice
We
because
want
she's my
another
girl.
question.
Another question.
Yes. Yeah.
Your-
Question number 2.
Your top two your top two Ugandan music producers.
My top 2 Ugandan music producers. Nassim
Yeah.
and who else?
Pressure.
Who else? Now I'm looking along Salama Road. Tinda.
Mighty over there.
And Atin, I think. I didn't prepare well. Yeah.
No,
Out of head.
that's the truth. That's
Yeah,
the gospel
Nassim and
truth.
Atin.
Yes.
Okay, you'll think of the others when you're in traffic.
Then I'll call you and just put it in the text.
The tweet there.
Your top 2 hip hop collabos, cross genre collabos of all time.
Yeah,
I am this bad man from Kamocha. Everything we are doing is from Kamocha.
Fire.
That's one.
correct.
Cross genre.
Yeah.
Cross genre. Give me examples.
We can.
Over time, which ones are still?
at least
We are number one. We are number one.
This guy is a good one, guy. If our podcast doesn't come- Actually, when you call James, it's like, I've seen
on his Twitter. So actually,
Born and raised in Musawa. No, but I think for me those 2 songs are uplifting. They're different. I mean, however much they are old, they come from the same artists, but for me, it's the value that you put out to the public.
Yeah.
And I don't want something like Jamwe Mpale to get to Zine. I'd rather for something that empowers me. Yes. Okay.
it depends on which type of power.
We are going to close it on that note. Guys, James, thanks for honoring our invite.
thank you, guys.
Episode 6 in the bag.
Yeah. And guys, whatever we've said, guys, this episode is not only for hip hop, guys.
Yes.
I think this episode is for
Everybody should listen to
music
it.
creator
Yes.
out there.
Yeah.
Take the information, use it, and share it.
Let go.
Okay, till next week. Thanks for listening in.